agus sin share screen. Okay, so today I'm Harrington Newton tasking lection on chapter journal. So what the year from master basic crane, I'm shed a yellow the force at a go there, generally target the massne, agus a go there and water listen can't fought at the carn here. So we going the formula solution, okay? So relation of formula, so the F quadrumla G more M heat M dot is going to D carn here. Okay, now my lock within against the centripetal force. Okay, so if we do so we're in the force in the M Harrington force light ampere at the according to the planetary phase you heart and green. I guess it is the Pluto and you more summer planet nismo. Now muscle word so I'm afraid the notes love are where you have Kate Caradon. So it is working to say testing grow centripetal force. So I'm a good clairvoyant deep, I guess just now short deep. Okay. So a clairvoyant test going good force. Quadra G more M heat M dot is D squared. So shouldn't other planet or mass be into universe. The testing fasting is called centripetal force. So Jane formula for the centripetal force, it is testing quotient quadrumla mv squared is r. Okay. Now it is working to so the constant force of repulsion between 2 point masses in the universe. Like I shouldn't write kind of this is centripetal force because this is called heart and circle. Testing called the F so called the quadrumla here. So the majority screen is called G M E M dot is going D squared quadrumla M V squared is going R. Now because the mechanical radius, here he can show R G R. Okay, because the mechanical fad will let it down. So we'll lock it then you pass that will let it down. We saw this in a circle, so we'll let it down and mark the G cause that or surface it down and you switch away the majority radius current locking. So this is going to get every calendar mark. I guess the misfraction, I guess right R away model is squared, and therefore the misfraction G more M is going to R V squared. Okay, so make it to test the shape called V squared quadrumla. Or actually, so the G M is going to R quadrumla V squared. So the V, so finding velocity, quadrumla square root, G more, M more is going to R. Okay, I guess the next one formulas in the chapters. Okay. Now, market assertion. So where G is the universal gravitational constant, M1, M2 are the masses of the bodies, and D is the distance between the centers. So thus in figure 12.13, so marking to the text or figure 12.13, if we have a satellite of mass m moving with speed v in an orbit of radius r, then test going to equal v squared quadrumla g m is equal r. Now for this equation, we can see if you pick the height of the orbit, this equation tells you the speed of the satellite. If you pick the speed, this equation gives you the height. If you pick the height, you get the speed. If you pick the speed, you get the height. So the speed of the satellite is independent of the mass of the satellite. So these tests will be equal to square root g m is going to r. So v equals square root g for square root m is going to square root r. So thus, since g is a constant, the speed of the satellite is directly proportional to the square root of the mass of the body. So when you calculate g more is a constant. So the least I could consider the formula. So with the v quadrumla square root g m is equal to r. So here the g show what to we can wait. So similar cost the square root g maybe for square root m is equal to r. I guess so these because they're showing the constant gravitational constant, that's going to equal a radius or the radius of orbit inversely proportional to mass, or to v directly proportional to m over r, square root of m over r. Okay, so thus since g is a constant, the speed of the satellite is directly proportional to the square root of the mass of the body it orbits and inversely proportional to the square root of the radius of the orbit. And then to sample the question or problem Caibidil higgle freak. Now, Mahima Jaraski in PowerPoint. To me Appleton, so soon as satellites, so switching us, the satellite face harder planets, the Kinkiel to that period, Fisic. So, Rudder Hermagerson is a period of an orbit. Okay, so the time taken for a satellite to go once around the central body is called the periodic time, or simply the period T of an orbit. So, made so American to the screen, American to the satellite, so made Amalaxa, Kirkle Omanianu, Heart or Beacon planet or carpet on the world shape. So, Shinra the Hermit period orbiter. Okay, now, so make it to when your period orbiter, because time equals, so Smithy has the speed equals distance over time. I guess my argument then you should have tested that the period T is equal to 2 pi r. So, soon as thought the Cahin satellite, called Heart and Circle on is going to Lewis again. So, the T called my 2 pi r is going V. Now, the session did into your tably, but it was head part of the relationship between the period of an orbit and its radius. So, make it in a earlier in a ciorcalach to shin la fold I guess la obri ma. So, catch one with for T squared called my 4 pi squared R cubed G more M more. So, I'm afraid you live in a clairvoyant. Okay, we should look at in clairvoyant I can. Will you in focus or will you rub out of focus?
Go follow a PowerPoint. Should go follow a PowerPoint.
Aye, but will I could clairvoyant and was you in focus or was you out of focus?
In focus.
That's in focus, right? That's okay. Okay, right. So, American to sit in us every part of the rub us on what? Right, so J tested, okay. Now, testing, well, Malakma then your centripetal force, so sin NV squared is going R. Because testing was in corresponding to the force of gravity, so sin G M more M big is going R squared. R squared. So testing, so ocean testing will V squared, corresponding G more M more is going R. Now, testing channel part journal the chapter is the end. Okay, now, first of all, we're doing the period T. So the T. It made Amalok and Heart and Circle on causing that 2 pi r is going to be. Okay, so the next to me able to me quickly to me get a v squared because the v squared and so to me get a v squared and so the square limit is yeah t. So you have the t squared causing that 2 pi r squared is going to be squared. Well, then you okay, that's it. So Carrington yeah 2, so my Carrington T or Carrington top is the bottom. So these tests going to go sin cosina T squared cosina 4 pi squared R squared is going to be squared. Okay, because test going to go V squared cosina GM is going to R. So he can see this is up on the set. So these tests going to go T squared cosina 4 pi squared R squared is going G more M more is going R. Because G enemy there to me to range your cut down, jumping me upside down like this enemy made. So sooner right turn from my crossing it, well, shall they come up. The test going to go T squared in this cutting that. So it's 4 pi squared R squared maybe five like a chunk of upside down. So soon R is going G more M more. Okay, so it can be back by T squared cutting out 4 pi squared R cubed is going G more M more. Okay, I've seen that all the formula is charted. Okay, now ocean testing that the period of an orbit is equal to square root the 4 pi squared R cubed is going G more maybe M more. It was case when you add level case we operating formulas in the script sheets. So basically, mentioning that the centripetal force formula for cosmos is force of universal gravitational formula, because that's going to go V squared cosmos G M is going to R. Now, to be quickly, test when cost equal to period T, cosmos 2 pi R is going to V, and therefore to be quickly V squared. So carrying yet to you, we carrying to yet to you with T squared cosmos 4 pi squared R squared is going to be squared. So on V squared when you GM is going to R. Now to make range of cut in terms of bonus gum, I guess made into, I guess you're with 4 pi squared R cubed is going to G more M more. Now to send down to win, by T let's change, so carrying yet to you, so the T cosmos square root of 4 pi squared R cubed is going to G more M more. Like it's in the formula for the period of an orbit. Okay, I guess ocean J testicle. Okay, now the random back between formula so on show. Locking tested T squared quadrilla. Now the 4 pi squared is from G. Okay, so the G in a constant, the 4 pi squared is just a number. So to make fact that the R cubed is from M more. So ocean testicle, that's called T squared directly proportional to R cubed. So the T squared directly proportional to R cubed, or how that is equal T directly proportional to the square root of R cubed. Okay, I guess fast test is equal T squared inversely proportional to 1 over n, where the T inversely proportional to 1 over square root n. So sin here what the height of when it's negative, there's the homogenic destiny or a period of an orbit. Okay, well, destiny did you be for the doesn't. Do you know any catch one of the values in the league? Okay, so the goal la ne formula solution to majority sin hall because grind destiny in. So what destiny did you be in as per the formula in the form of region? No? Okay. So, make it to a headline analysis just from a packaging PowerPoint. So, it's in formula of this. So, magazine head point now, what the satellite phase in some planet main ciorcalach, so the equatorial plane horns it down. I guess must say Fisic were in period, so can you come in lock into Fisic were done down full rotation again. So with the satellite orbit obviously got like Lewis wide discussion and down, but lock into made turn. So now the form is a geostationary orbiter or in geocubsy. So it's a orbit or Fisic geocubsy hormigration. So it's called a geostationary orbit or a parking orbit. So that means the satellite directly is shown upper Erin, I guess Pones are going is shown Erin as the down rotator, the satellite rotator, speaking is gas but going to punch it down is shown down. So it's on the Hermit stationary orbiter. Okay. Now, so market to the orbit is geostationary if the satellite orbits in the equatorial plane. So kaigin satellite away in the equatorial plane. I guess every day lock and chat trave sheet that Fisic where. So that means well T in Shaw equals to 24 hours. I guess it is the satellite moves in the same direction as the Earth. Obviously, Kaiser rotator heart, let's say, fame kernel, let's it down. Okay, so it's in what to get. My get every any funny hodgel done lie or funny wrong is called for each exercise 12.4. So the end of exercise 12.4, Wallendev if formula show it's a text or line a Caibidil 3 is skriven in the lower note is a olum. Then exercise 12.4 I guess in moeda passamage or but actually to go orange and Rama for each exercise 12.4 level where I'm at the Kisney be good and then pass image of chapter or the loop. Was it okay?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. So shouldn't make it in 11 years. So Prenamid Lou and you I guess Rama for each in the Kisney 12.4 level where I guess what the Kisney be and then balloon tasha, which are simple harmonic motion and Hooke's law. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you grind your bird at the hall and massive we can't live well wrong when you more that physics. Yeah, you know, no ball more that customer range of right, that's okay.
Slam.
Right, no wallet, slime us.
Right. So